All right, what's going on, everybody? Man, sorry I'm so late. I was I was already running a little bit late, and then as soon as I started, my PC was like, "Nope, not right now. You gotta go. You gotta do some fixing." So, anyways, I made it, guys. What is going on, man? I got a show for you tonight. We got so much to talk about. It's just getting wild out there. And I know I say that all the time, but it's because it's true. Every freaking day it's something, man. And I got more for you today. We're going to go through it. There's these polls coming out. Everybody's losing their minds. Everybody's losing hope. It's like the conservative influencers are falling apart. I got a crazy story there. Got this wild thing that happened with Bill Maher today. I cannot wait to show you Epstein file stuff, election stuff. It's everywhere. It's all the stuff. We're going to laugh at some Scott Bessent in the hearing because he was genius and hilarious. And we're going to have a good time while doing it. So if you guys are new, welcome. I am Ace. I run this show, American Fire, because it's about the fire, man. It's spreading in our country, and we cannot let it go out. We are all about saving this country, getting it back on track, and not letting this administration be a failure, because we want a better future for our kids, our grandkids. And I'm telling you guys, this is our chance. We are here. We're not going to give up, just like I don't see Donald Trump giving up. And so, against all freaking odds, this is the tough time. This is when everybody's starting to panic, but it's okay. We're going to make it through. And so we're going to go through all that tonight. Why you still should have a lot of hope and expectancy and believe we can do this as long as we do not let our foot off the gas. So, welcome. Glad to have you here. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I appreciate you guys. If you're on X, hit that repost. Thank you so much for paying attention to this matter. Get it out there. Share it with your friends, because we're going to have a good time tonight and learn lots of good stuff. All right. What's going on, family and friends over there? Let me say hey to the Chizat. Wago Waco numero uno tonight. What's up, buddy? Toe Cramp, what's up? Pat M. CJ Yukon. Alice Fordham, what's going on? Toe Cramp. Oh, man. You love my song? Thank you, brother. I know. I got to get you a version of it. I got to get that in that thing. So, the new song, big hit. I know it's a little intense, but, and it's not the kind of music I usually listen to, but that song rocks. A friend made it for me. Candace, what's going on? JJ Jackson, Daver, what's up? Action Not Words, Cindy Lou, The Wall, what to do? Gomez is in here. Nick Majors, Dennis Weir, Old Man, Mark R, Sittler Henry over on Rumble. And Mark R, thank you for the thumbs up. Yeah, hit that like, guys. All right. Well, are you guys ready to get into it? I sure am. Okay, here we go. I cannot wait. This just makes me so happy. And look at that. I didn't even have it ready. That's because the PC crashed and I had to restart stuff. Okay, here we go. Check this out. Bill Maher, after seeing the Epstein files, had a few words for those of us who've been following this a while and those of us who kind of knew what was coming. Watch this clip. It kind of made my jaw drop, I'm not going to lie.
What were your thoughts about the Epstein files and 3 million pages being released? And, now we are hearing that Bill and Hillary Clinton have both agreed to testify in the House ahead of the contempt of Congress vote. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, this is certainly something we were talking in my meeting today about what I'm going to talk about on the show Friday, because it's
Right.
just too interesting. And also, I can't believe I'm saying this, but where does QAnon go for the apology? QAnon, which believed in lots of really ridiculous things, like, Democrats eat babies.
Yeah.
But they were kind of harping a lot on the idea that the elites are running this pedophile ring. And I made jokes about them. I also made jokes after the Epstein thing happened originally, that were on the idea of, well, there like obviously there was some smoke there. Well, now with all that's come out in the last couple of weeks, there's a little more than smoke. It does look like anybody who was at all able to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein, he was the
We're
man.
doing it.
They just yeah. I mean, and then they all lied about it. Everybody has, and the arrogance also of thinking they could just use their real name in an email, which they did, and didn't try to like
Wow.
couch it in, when I used to get pot before it was legal, it was like, I'd like 2 shirts, please, and no seeds in the shirts this time, you had to sort of codify it. No, they're just openly talking in emails about this sort of, sexual perversion and that they were all doing. And lots of people who you didn't think, or I never imagined were doing it.
Hearing this from Bill
I
is so
see these
wild.
names come.
I mean, okay, so I mean, I just the main thing I wanted you guys to hear was that first part is so crazy that he said, "I owe basically where's QAnon to give an apology," and like, and those of you who follow this stuff for longer, it's not QAnon, it's just Q. Anons who shared it, Anons who decoded it, but that's okay, doesn't matter. Bill did well. Saying you need to apologize because they were right about so much. How crazy is that coming out of Bill Maher's mouth? If Maher is waking up to this stuff, I gotta tell you guys, it's spreading like wildfire. Even my wife said to me tonight, we were talking about the Epstein stuff, and out of nowhere she was just like, "What if this is the thing that brings conservatives and liberals together?" And I was like, well, it said in the old Q post that that what's his face that so many people would be awakened, it would change stuff. I mean, just anyways, just so crazy. And we're seeing it. We're actually seeing it. I just never thought in a million years I would hear something like that out of Bill Maher's voice. And I got to tell you that these two men right here are two of the only honest liberals in America in media and politics. They're two of the only ones, and it's fantastic seeing them together. I actually listen. I don't watch their shows, but sometimes I'll watch Maher. I'll watch the replay so I can skip through where I want. But Stephen A. Smith, I'll get his clips. I don't necessarily like him, but he says some good stuff. I'm just glad that these men are out here, though. Guys, I'll actually criticize their party. They'll go through stuff, and they can admit when something like this is out and just rocking the world that, hey, we conspiracy theories, it's not so crazy anymore, is it? We were right. The scorecard at this point is crazy. How right we've been about so many things. The Epstein Island, the pedophilia, the satanic abuse, the Hunter Biden laptop, COVID. I mean, the COVID vaccine. You name it. We're about 1,000. So it's crazy. It's crazy where we're headed, and so we're gonna. I'll continue here in a second. I'm seeing a couple stuff here. Mark R says, "Love Stephen A. So raw and authentic." Absolutely, most of the time, for sure. He's a little showy sometimes. I don't really love that part, but Jake Cornett says, "As a libertarian, I absolutely love your show. No BS." Jake, that means a lot to me, man. And listen, as a libertarian, I forgive you. No, I'm kidding. Like, that actually means a lot. And I'm really hard on libertarians. Really hard on them. But I'm not. When I'm hard on libertarians, just know, man, I don't mean you. Okay? I don't mean the people who are libertarians with actual beliefs. I mean the libertarian frauds who are out there in the media, who pretend to be libertarian, but really are just there to just be anti whatever's happening governmentally. Whether it's Trump, whatever, nothing's ever good enough. They're always going to be negative. They're always, it's like you have to go through their perfection filter. And if your name isn't Ron Paul, you're just never going to be good enough for them to celebrate. That's what I mean when I say, libertarian. So just so you guys know, because I don't want to turn away fans or regular people who are libertarians. I respect the true believers. But so just so you know, don't get offended if I say libertard or something. If I'm talking about Thomas Massey or Dave Smith, that's not what I'm aiming for. Dirty Red, I'm on at the time of the day. Welcome, night creature to the AM. Yeah, man. I'm on late tonight. Okay, let's keep going because Trump said some stuff today that's really throwing people off. This is the thing that people don't like. What Trump said
it bothers me
about Bill Clinton.
But it bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton.
Sorry, guys, the screen got all jacked.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood.
So this threw MAGA in a little tizzy. This whole I like Bill Clinton. Maybe we should leave Bill alone. I feel kind of bad for him, kind of thing. But you got to understand that this has been something Trump's done for a long time. It's how he draws stuff in. All right, he draws the media in and he flips stuff on them. But MJ Truth Ultra is one of the best. If you're not following MJ Truth Ultra on X, what are you doing? I know he's got one of the weird names. And people don't always trust people who aren't their names. I don't, whatever. Sometimes they give the best news and they want to be people who aren't known. And I respect it. But he's one of the best. And he says today, his understanding of Trump is just so good. Bothers me. People are going after Bill Clinton, says Trump. Trump over the years. You need to look into Bill Clinton. He went to the island 28 times. He was been so hard on Clinton lately. And then he says, I hope everyone realizes classic Trump 5D psych chess. He's the one who set all this in motion. He released the files. His guy set all this in motion in the upcoming Clinton hearing. It's not flip-flopping. It's a tactic known as strategic highlight amplification. By loudly defending Clinton now after years screaming about him being Epstein's favorite frequent flyer, it's the political equivalent of don't look over there and shining a spotlight. It's totally right. And Brian Cates is another excellent one. He shows you right here how this is just classic. And so, and I try to show you guys this a lot because first of all, so many people have been burned by certain conspiracy stuff. And so it really takes so much, let me put it this way. So much of it's been true. And then so much of it has either not occurred the way people expected or has just not occurred at all. And I'm not talking specifically Q stuff. I'm saying in general, going down these deep dives of conspiracies. And what's really important about this is to understand that you don't want to go full one way or the other, okay? Which is all in, Trump can do no wrong, the white hats are in perfect control, that like you don't have to worry about anything, we don't even need to do work, sit back and enjoy the show. That's just not true. We're in a war and we're supposed to be part of that war. Okay, so you don't want to go that way where you're so white-pilled you just don't think anything can ever go wrong and we can't lose no matter what. That's certainly not true. We can lose if we screw up. We're not going to, because we're not going to let that happen, but it's possible. The other flip side of that is to get black-pilled and be like, I don't trust anything anymore. It hasn't happened the way I wanted to. I give up. And that's either, both of those sides are really wrong. The right place to be is to keep learning and to say, wow, a lot of this has come true. Yeah, some of it hasn't happened yet, or some of it hasn't happened the way. So I need to understand better, or I need to be more patient. How do I be a part of this? That's the right answer. It's not to dismiss everything, and it's also not to embrace everything. Be smart. Like the entire Q operation that happened under Trump's first term was all about waking people up and teaching us how to research and to start looking in places. It wasn't about saying like nothing is ever going to go wrong, nothing's going to be hard. That's not what it was about. It wasn't about it already is over. That certainly is not what it's about. So part of it, though, is understanding Trump and understanding how little of what we actually see is what's really going on. And that, my friends, is kind of what the theme of is tonight's show, is that just we're seeing a lot of stuff right now, and we're hearing a lot of stuff, and the emotions are there. I'm going to show you a chart later that's wild. That is absolutely wild about the differences between people's opinions where they get their information. Just crazy stuff. But it tells you, like, you have to know where you're going, and you have to actually go looking for truth. You have to go looking for what's really going on. So again, here's regards to Trump talking about Clinton today with all that's going on with Epstein. It says, Brian Cates writes, years ago, Trump openly talked about how many times Clinton went to the island. Now his hands are tied. Only stupid people have to have this explained to him. I disagree with him on that. That's just mean. A lot of people need it explained to him. But looking back to the Q posts, look at this. Some of us come here to drop crumbs, just crumbs. POTUS, this is first term, is insulated. Any discussing he's a target is false. Anyways, but here's the interesting part. POTUS will not be addressing the nation on any of these issues as people begin to be indicted and must remain neutral for pure optical reasons. So I just, this is the kind of stuff that a lot of people are like, well, where's those indictments? What's going on? I get it. But if this stuff is true, like so much of the other stuff's become true since this was all posted between 2017, 2020, if this is true, then this makes perfect sense why Trump would all of a sudden be nice to the Clintons if they're getting close to something. Again, I'm not predicting the Clintons are going to go to prison. I'm not predicting anything. But what I'm telling you is that it makes sense from a perspective when you're like, wait, why is Trump being nice to Clinton all of a sudden now that the files are out when he was dogging on Clinton for the last few months leading up to the files? If this is real, it makes a lot of sense. But even if it's not real, it's not how it works out. The one thing you can say for certain is that every single time Trump rope-a-dopes something like this, it does draw attention to it and usually blows up in the media's face. So I wanted to cover that. There's a lot of stuff coming out in the Epstein files, more and more. Most of it I'm not going to cover. I'll be honest with you guys. I will cover if it's big names. I will cover if it's like bombshells related to what we're seeing politically or geopolitically. What I'm not going to cover is the disgusting stuff. It's not something I want to talk about. It's not something that is helpful to where we're at right now. It's gratuitous. It's sick. It is important for some people to know for sure just that it happened in the first place, but it's also just not something I want to get into. I've alluded to it before. I've talked a little bit about it in some members' lives, but I just don't want to get into the dark stuff. And that's mostly what's circulating right now is more and more of the dark stuff coming out. And I just don't want to go there. I don't want to talk about what Epstein and them did to kids. It's sick. It's horrifying. And, it doesn't really have much to do with the focus of like winning and going forward. We already know these are bad people, but I'm not going to cover everything in the Epstein files because of that reason, just in case you're wondering, because there is a lot coming out. But if you want to find out, go to X and just start scrolling Epstein files. You will see everything you're curious about. Tokram says you met MJ Truth when he was getting his start. Really? That's awesome. Yeah, he's been one of the best. A lot of Anons with the Q stuff, I got to say, kind of lost their minds or lost their way. They went too far, and he's been one of the ones who's kept his brain this whole time. So, yeah, I'm not talking much about markets tonight, although I will talk about like the crash a little bit later, because crypto especially is crashing out right now. Anyways, let's get moving. Okay, this is really important, this next section. We're going to be talking about the SAVE Act and what's going on with the elections. Now, this is really causing a stir in the media and on the left. They're starting to panic over this. I'm starting to hear that this is looking more and more like it's going to happen, because the Democrats, especially in the media, those who have connections, they're starting to get more and more defensive, and they're starting to come up with more reasons and narratives on how to fight it. So Trump posted tonight, he's really doing the full court press on this. America's elections are rigged, stolen, and a laughing stock all over the world. We're either going to fix them or we won't have a country any longer. I'm asking Republicans to fight for the following. Save America Act. 1, all voters must show voter ID. 2, all voters must show proof of U.S. citizenship to register. I love that. And 3, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Again, this alone, these 3 things will clean up 95% of the voting, and that's all we need. 95% is enough. It is. They'll still be able to cheat a little bit, but it won't be able to swing anything but the absolute closest of elections. I mean, and by closest, I mean elections that might be within 50 votes, which is very, very few. We'll never, if this is passed, we're never going to see 300,000 ballots dropped in the middle of the night again swinging elections. We're not going to see California go 3 weeks until they finally are able to rig their House seats. That will never happen again. So this full court press is coming out. And, for a while there, it was really scary. It was kind of like, if you wanted this, it was starting to look like the Republicans weren't going to be able to pull it off. But it's starting to build. The people are starting to wake up and demand it. And Republicans are starting to get weaker as a result. And by weaker, I mean weakened to what the people actually want. Check this out. This is John Solomon doing some excellent reporting. And he had this to say about upcoming election stuff with Tulsi Gabbard and Trump. Listen to this.
I believe that the President of the United States is soon going to be briefed by Tulsi Gabbard and other intelligence officials, based on my reporting, about additional intrusions, significant, large-scale intrusions into various forms of our election system. Now, I'm not talking about getting a machine and flipping the vote, but maybe getting enough of state voter databases that a foreign power could work with people on the ground in the United States to fill out fake registrations for people who are on dirty voter rolls. Those licenses that were sent into Chicago were going to be used to make absentee ballot applications, according to the FBI predicate. By the way, Chris Wray's FBI didn't look at that. They shut it down. If a foreign power was that far into the election databases of state systems that they could figure out what driver's licenses to send here, the next question becomes, who were they working with on the ground? Who was going to file those ballot requests? I think that's why Tulsi Gabbard was down in Georgia, why you might see her in Arizona, why the FBI will probably be in Arizona, and why the president's about to get a briefing. And all of this new information could have a profound effect on the Save America Act, which is, all right, some people say it feels like we're doing an awful lot. There's not a real problem. These next revelations, if the president were to declassify them after he gets debriefed on them in the next few days, they could educate senators and House members and give them a greater inspiration to maybe go ahead and do the voter ID and the citizenship check. That is a big moment. Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are driving this. It's been below the radar, but they're doing some really big stuff. Now the president's going to find out what it is, and then at that point, the opportunity comes to declassify it. Let's see what it is. There's one other element to this. If government officials lied to us after the 2020 election, there's still an opportunity in some of those cases to pursue criminal cases against them. We'll see where it all comes out, but that's what's going on in the background of the Save America Act debate right now.
Hoo-de-lolly. Did you hear that? That should get everybody excited. Again, Solomon is the man. Okay, this guy is like maybe the best reporter in Washington, D.C. So when you hear that, guys, pay close attention, because right now, the biggest blackpilling nonsense I keep hearing is nothing's happening. Why are they letting everybody off the hook? And this is being fed by a lot of influencers. It's driving me crazy. I want to wring their necks sometimes. And that's not in a violent way. I'm expressing myself. Okay, guys? Okay, YouTube? I'm not condoning violence. If you're out there, algorithms, AI. Gotta be careful on here, guys. But no, what I mean by that is it drives me up a wall. Because, first of all, it's been just over a year. And we have all these people right now just dooming out. And the worst part is, it's one thing if Joe Schmo, who voted, he wants people locked up. That's the only reason he voted for Trump. He's totally politically retarded. Sorry, Joe, out there, Joe Schmo. But you're politically retarded. And he has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know how to actually pay attention to things moving around. All he knows is that he voted for President freaking Obama to be arrested, and it hasn't happened yet, and so he's mad at Trump. Okay? There's nothing you can do with those people. And so, yeah, that takes a little bit of points off Trump's approval. But it still should be holding strong. The problem is, then you get people like Rich Barris, who is an excellent pollster. Turns out he's a bit of an ass. Sorry, Rich, if you're watching. I know you're not, but you're an ass right now. You're pissing me off. They go on X, and him and Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Report's also an excellent. And I don't think these guys are anti-American. Okay, I don't. Sometimes I'm like, this stuff is so bad, I wonder if you guys are controlled opposition. I don't really know if they are. I don't necessarily believe they are. I think they're doing what is best for their brand, and so they're being a little selfish. But what they're also doing is all this dooming, it's freaking people out. So Rasmussen Reports today came out and dropped a bomb. Trump's lowest approval of his term so far, 41%, which is low. It is. It's not like death low. I mean, it's not where Biden was. It's not where President Bush got to, but it's low. And it's worrying if it's true. And we'll see if it's true or an outlier. He daily tracks, so we'll see if it holds up the next few days. But the point is they're dooming over Joe Schmo, who's politically retarded, not understanding and like yelling at the Trump administration for there not being arrested yet. They're dooming, they're having a good old time about it. It's nonstop what they're saying. Well, the people paying attention to them are buying into it. And what needs to actually be done is say, hey, Trump administration, we recognize like this stuff hasn't happened yet, and your poll numbers are going down as a result. However, look at what else is happening. You guys are doing great on this. Keep going. They need to be educating voters as they go along, is my point. Pointing out all the good stuff that's happened. We've had the best 12 months of a president's first year ever, in my opinion. And I mean ever. I've done the show on the first 100 days. I mean, the first year was the best ever in American history. And yet, because we don't control the media, that narrative's not getting out there. And so, and everybody who's not paying the closest of attention just has no idea. Now, I'm not worried about polls, but at the same time, they do matter, at least in the fact that they show trends. And listen, the ICE stuff, the people getting tired, the people who thought Trump was going to come in and be king, yeah, those people are upset right now. Those people I don't know what they expected. They want him to go on TV and lie to their faces and act like everything's fine instead of getting stuff done. That's how like presidents did it in the past and had higher approval ratings. It's all a joke. It's all a game. Now, if the economy really starts roaring up more like it's already doing, and that continues, and Trump gets some major wins that the media can't even spin, then yeah, it'll turn around fast. I'm not worried about the midterms yet. I just saw in here, like, Dirty, love ya, he already says midterms are lost. They're not. They're not. And I disagree with you. Candidate Trump was different. I think Trump's doing exactly what he did. He's certainly doing everything I voted for him for. But you know what? I'm a political analyst. I've been doing this for many years, not on a show, but I've been studying politics for many years. I understand Trump. I've been studying him the entire time. Anybody who thought Trump was going to come in, be king, and get this all done in 5 months is politically retarded. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean you don't understand how these things work. Trump, what he's done so far, how much he's got done is a miracle. It really is. And we're just now, the DOJ just now is fully staffed. They lost half their staff once Trump came in from firings and people quitting. They purged it, but it was much lower. So they didn't have everything they needed to build cases. Then the Epstein files came. They had to redact millions of pages, go through millions of pages to redact victims' names. Did they over-redact some stuff? Yeah, I believe they did. I'll say it. I think there's some stuff that I don't know why, and I'm just going to have to trust them for now. And if it turns out I'm wrong on that, I'm okay with being wrong on that, because so far the Trump administration is, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased. And I think everybody who's actually really, really paying a lot of attention is very pleased too. Okay. But again, Joe Schmo, political retard, but otherwise nice guy, isn't happy right now. And it's fine. Like, the only thing that can win them over is the big stuff. And guess what? We got 3 years of the big stuff yet. It might not happen before the midterms. I think a lot will. I do think a lot will. And it's going to be really hard for Joe Schmo, political retard, to be mad when, even if the arrests haven't happened yet, but he's bankrolling because the economy is so good, and he's gotten a raise, and he's got his tax cuts. He's getting way more money back from that. He's seeing all these opportunity. Maybe he got a better job because things are roaring. Manufacturing's back. Who knows? I'm just saying, it's amazing how fast things can turn around when the economy's good. If on top of that you add some other big wins, some big arrests, some big indictments, the SAVE Act getting passed, don't underestimate how big a deal it is for the SAVE Act to get passed. This is an 80-20 issue for American voters. Americans want voter ID by 80%. And so that gets passed. It's a big deal. And also, it's going to be very hard for them to win the midterms if it's all fair. Just saying. No matter how bad things are, because that's how red most of the country is. We're a way more red country than blue. Not by population, although even that is significantly trending in conservatives' favor. MAGA's favor more and more all the time because the left is too stupid to have babies. But on top of that, you also have the left tends to be congregated in these areas. So one representative in that area might represent 1 million people, while another representative in rural America might represent 50,000. And because of that, it just adds up because of geography that we could easily get more House members with fair elections. So guys, this is the kind of stuff, like, that's why I'm not dooming. So I'm not freaking out. What Solomon's saying here, if Trump proves that, I should say Tulsi Gabbard at this point, if Tulsi Gabbard proves that 2020 was stolen and they finally drop the big bomb, and here they're like, here's the receipts. Check this out. 2020, completely stolen. And now nobody can deny it. If they drop that bomb, holy smokes, that's going to wake up a lot of people. That's going to wake up a lot of people. That could shift polls 5 points overnight, and bam, the midterms are ours right there. Because proving an election was stolen is permanently damaging to the Democratic Party for a lot of people. A lot of people will never, ever vote Democrat again, even if their values might trend a little bit more that way. If the election is proven stolen, they'll say, I can never trust these people again. That's way too much. So just saying, that's the kind of stuff that can change things overnight. So guys, remember, we got 9 months till the midterms. I know it's going to feel fast because we are moving at rapid speed in our elections, or in our years now. With politics, it's just nonstop. But rocket speed still means there's a lot of times to do. There's a lot of things to do. So, Dirty Red. See, you're being the political retard. And I listen. You have every right to be upset because you're not getting what you wanted, but you're also not understanding how it works. Because you have to come in and you have to have a staff. You have to build these cases. We're talking about going after some of the most connected people in the world, some of the most protected people in the world. And they're in a jurisdiction, a lot of their crimes of DC, that would let them off if they murdered somebody right in front of national television. That is how liberal the juries are there and how bad the judges are. So if you're going to go after these people, you have to have a rock solid case, and you have to have a grand jury. You have to have a reason to get them out of DC. So everybody thinks this is simple. It's actually not. It's just not at all. So that's the thing. And I'm not saying you're a dumb guy. I don't think that at all. I'm just saying when it comes to how all this works, everybody who's frustrated over the arrest right now, it's political like stupidity. You just don't understand. Now, if it comes to year 3, year 4, and nothing's happened, then I would love to have a discussion. I will treat the frustration with a lot more respect. But the fact that it's only been a year, and knowing what I know about how the DOJ has been struggling to get through all this stuff because they've been short-staffed, I just can't take that argument seriously right now. But in 2 years, when we're coming into the last year of the term, if it hasn't happened, come back to me and I will say, I'm frustrated too. Okay. But I'm going to give it time because I understand how these things work. And I do. I think Bondi will come through, just like Old Man says. So, Cubs Light says protesters getting arrested or getting charged with felonies, they won't be able to vote. Yeah, I mean, that's great. Trump has to undo and fix what the Democrats broke. It takes time. It did. And he has to set that new ground floor as well. You know, you have to fix the border. You have to set the new law and order standards. There's just a lot going on. He has to deal with the foreign policy stuff, which, by the way, he can do almost all the foreign policy stuff without all the foreign policy stuff without Congress's approval. So that's something he can actually move on while Congress is dragging their feet on stuff. So there's a reason why this is all happening. I can explain all of it, and it's not even that difficult. Okay. Now, when I come up against something I can't explain, I'll tell you guys, I'll be like, this one makes no sense. They're dropping the ball. And so when we get to that point, but I'm sorry, I'm still in, they get a lot of grace. They get a lot of grace right now because it's only been a year. How can Trump and Nunes allow DJT? Well, for one thing, man, DJT is building for the future, and Trump can't do anything with DJT right now. So listen, again, all this stuff is like all these, and again, Dirty, I'm not mad at you, but I am going to say that everything that you're bringing up is stuff that actually makes a lot of sense why it's not going the way you want it to right now. But I understand you voted in Trump. You hoped he got in and you were expecting a magic bullet. A lot of people were. And unfortunately, I'm here to give you a reality check. That's not how it works. All the stuff you want fixed is a process, and it's going to take time. But unfortunately, there is a time limit for certain things. And one of the time limits is the midterms. We got to get something done before the midterms if we're going to have a chance to win them. And it does look like a lot of it's going on. Here we have the MSM panicking. And I love when they say this. This is them getting really mad at Carolyn Leavitt. They are freaking out about this Georgia stuff. And it's because they know, why else would this matter to them unless they knew something's going to come of this? So check this out.
Did President Trump himself ever ask DNI Gabbard to head down to Fulton County, Georgia?
The president was asked and answered that question just yesterday. I've seen a lot of the media in this room get very caught up with the semantics of why Tulsi Gabbard is there. I will tell you why, and the president agrees with this, because election security is essential to national security. And as the director of national intelligence, it is a part of Ms. Gabbard's role to make sure that American elections are free of foreign interference and that American elections are safe and secure. And so the ODNI director is working with the FBI on this effort, and the president wholeheartedly supports both Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard in ensuring that American elections are safe, are secure, and are free of foreign intervention.
Did President Trump himself...
What's going on with that? All right, you guys are probably like, well, that's not what I thought. That doesn't look like panic. No, the panic is this, okay? They are nonstop asking about Tulsi being there. They're trying to make all these things about it. Tulsi had no business being there, you know, and it's if you watch any media at all, it's nonstop. And that's what the freak out is. Because it's one thing if, you know, there was a raid at Georgia, they wouldn't have liked that. But to see Tulsi there, because Tulsi's DNI, Director of National Intelligence, she's supposed to be dealing with like foreign threats. And so they're like, why? Oh my God. Are they finally on to us? So that's what the panic is. And
Ever asked
MJ
DNI
writes it right
Gabbard
here.
to head down to Fulton County?
This was planned long ago. Trump said traps Executive Order 13848 imposing sanctions in the event of foreign interference in the U.S. election. Read the executive order. So here he posts it right here. I, Trump, find the ability of persons located in whole or substantial part outside the U.S. to interfere or undermine public confidence in U.S. elections, including through the unauthorized accessing of blah, 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 constitutes unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the U.S. That's where Tulsi comes in. Although there's been no evidence of foreign power altering the outcome or vote tabulation, foreign powers have historically sought to exploit our free and open political system. And so, anyways, this goes back to 2017, he outlines. So it's all set up so she can get in. Do you see that? He kind of like opened it up. God bless you, Dirty. Have a good night. We're going to disagree on the midterms, but we'll see who's right. So anyways, I love Dirty. I see, and that, by the way, guys, what Dirty did coming on here, disagreeing with me, that's the way to do it. He was honest, and he was honorable, honest and honorable. If you can do that, I'll talk to people disagreeing with me all day. So, MGN on Rumble says press needs to be slapped out of their stupid. That'd be something tangible. Well, Trump tried to do it to Caitlin Collins the other day. He really gave it to her. Okay, let's keep moving on this, though, because there's more election stuff. Here's Solomon again. And this is good advice right here, just to give you guys insight into what's going on in the Congress.
I know this is a huge priority for the president. What's the over and under on Thune supporting going to a talking or standing filibuster, sir?
I think there needs to be more pressure from the grassroots. He's got to feel it to be certain. I think he's thinking about it, but he's not quite there. The president's a very persuasive figure, but if tens of thousands of Americans had their voice be heard on Capitol Hill between the next week, I think a lot could happen.
All right, so if you guys are wondering what you can do with your free 15 minutes tomorrow, give your senator a call. Hit him up. Say, I want the SAVE Act pass. So, and I'm not even joking. That's something we can do. If they think that they will get killed if they don't pass this, that's how we get them to do it. And we're going to only get this through with either the filibuster blown up or at least implementing the standing filibuster. So that's what Solomon's talking about. So even like, obviously, if Trump reveals the elections are busted with Tulsi Gabbard by his side and 2020 was stolen, there's going to be so much pressure on them. I don't think they'll be able to avoid passing the SAVE Act. Even a few Democrats will jump on, like Fetterman. But in the meantime, let's hammer these people. Let's let them know that we want this done. Vinman asks, if certain states, if the SAVE Act gets passed, refuse to implement, what options do the feds have? Can they be locked out of presidential election? It's an excellent question. I think there are a couple things that, so the way I understand the Constitution or read it, when I read it, it basically says like the states are in charge of implementing the elections. What it doesn't say is that the federal government can't set standards. So I do believe that, because implementing is different than setting all the rules. It just means they run them. And so they have control in that aspect, but I don't believe there would be anything unconstitutional about setting a voter ID law. I think that could be fully held up Supreme Court. I think calling Election Day a national holiday, obviously there's lots of national holidays, so that could easily be done. And I also think that making it illegal to count ballots after Election Day, that could be constitutionally held up because the Constitution does label one single day as Election Day. So that I think all that can be done. The question is like mail-in ballots, that kind of stuff. Could the Fed stop that? And what I've heard is that what they would do is basically basically treat the states the same way states were treated when it came to changing the drinking age from 18 to 21. You know, that's not a federal law. It's state laws. Why is it state law? Because the government said, until you guys pass these laws, you don't get funding for your highways. And so they withheld highway funding. And the states that held out the longest, I believe Louisiana was the last one to pass it from 18 to 21. The states that held out the longest had like the worst highways for a long time. And so that's how that works. They want that federal money, baby. And so they could easily say, if you don't implement this, we withhold federal funds. And unfortunately, states who are supposed to be independent they're all welfare recipients at this point. Let's just call it what it is. All right. A couple other things in regards to elections, though, and people. Here's Harry. I wanted to give this is a good clip because, you know, for everybody pissed off about the elections, worried about the midterms, and thinking like if we lose the midterms, it's all gone. Well, I just don't see that. And this is something I wanted to show you guys that hopefully makes you feel better as well.
So how much power, and we're talking about influence here, do they have on the GOP, especially over the long run?
Yeah, over the long run. That's what I think is so important here. And it's not just about Donald Trump. It's about the Make America movement. Again, that's what we're talking about, Make America Great Again movement. And it is as powerful as it has ever been. Because I want you to take a look here. GOP who view MAGA favorably. 2 years ago when Donald Trump was running for term number 2, it was 74%. Today, look at this. It's 78% of Republicans who view the Make America Great Again movement favorably. So we're talking about something that, in my opinion, will very much be able to outlast Donald Trump. Trump is in term.
Do you see that, guys? I mean, do you understand like what a massive number that is? 78% of GOP voters. So it basically means the GOP just is MAGA now, 80%. So we have some holdovers, but most of them are just like, nope, we're in. And so this means that this isn't going away. This isn't the Tea Party. The Tea Party was like, I don't know, 20, 30% of the Republican Party, and they were able to push it out. So I hear that. I hear people say that. I think Rich Barris wrote it today, that this MAGA is going to go the way of the Tea Party if this doesn't stop. No, you don't undo 80%. Even if Trump doesn't have the best term we hope for, he doesn't get everything done we hope for, 80% is not going away.
Number 2, he can't run for a term number 3, but the bottom line is this. What he brought into the GOP looks like it's going to last long beyond him.
It's a very populist movement. I am curious because J.D. Vance would then be the next standard bearer of this movement. Where is the GOP on how they feel about him?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, obviously J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, at this point looks like a favorite for the Republican nomination come 2028. And one of the reasons why he looks like a favorite is because the Republican base loves J.D. Vance. What are we talking about here? Someone who really represents the Make America Great Again movement. This is somebody a year ago, his favorable rating among Republicans, 81%. Latest Marquette University Law School poll, look at this. 84%. 84%. So if anything, his favorable rating is somewhat up from where it was a year ago after a year of Trump. And, of course, that matches what we see when it comes to MAGA, right? It matches what we see coming to MAGA, whereby it was 74 and now it's 78%. If anything, MAGA's grip on the GOP, and it seems like the next in line to be the next standard bearer of MAGA, both of them, their favorable ratings are actually up after a year of Donald Trump's.
Okay, how crazy is that number for J.D. Vance? I mean, I can't. What other Republican other than Trump has ever been up to 84% before being president? I can't think of anybody who'd be up that high. We're talking like stranglehold on the nomination for 2028. It's like market aid, dude. It's over unless there's like some crazy scandal or, Trump all of a sudden bombs Florida, it's like, this is not going away. All right. And it's funny because I was listening to Mark Halperin today on his podcast talking about how JD's starting to slip and people aren't starting to like him as much. And they're starting to think maybe he's too smarmy and he's losing his grip on MAGA. And his guest thought he was insane, which it turns out he is, because these numbers are crazy. He is the best. And again, I think he is going to take us to the next level. And so that, guys, should show you right there. Okay, MAGA is united. The Republican base is MAGA now. Vance, the Republican base likes Vance more than they like MAGA. Isn't that crazy? So he's even got a lot of the holdovers. So the base is united. Now, I think Vance in a general election is going to be so good at it. I think he's going to pull over even more moderates than Trump did. He's younger. He's well-spoken. He's intense when he needs to be. I mean, I think 2028, they're thinking right now Kamala might run again. Can you imagine Kamala versus JD Vance? I mean, that's not even a fair fight. So I just think we're heading in a good direction. And even if we lose the midterms, guys, here's the dirty secret nobody tells you about losing the midterms, okay? Losing the midterms would be terrible. Do not get me wrong. But it's not catastrophic. It's terrible because it pushes off the next 2 years. Trump will still get a lot done because he'll still have foreign policy, and he'll still there's just stuff he could get done. Okay, executive orders, getting law and order, immigration. He'll still be able to do all that. So plenty will get done. But what slows down is that A, they'll be investigating him and the administration like crazy. So that'll slow stuff down. And B, obviously we're all expecting impeachments. Okay. And that slows Trump down considerably. But this is the dirty secret nobody's talking about if the Democrats win the midterms. They win the midterms. They go after Trump and Vance. All of a sudden, Trump and Vance get to be the martyrs again. They get to be, especially Trump. And look what happened last time they were going after Trump. He got more popular all the time. It's one of the main reasons he won 2024 is because they wouldn't stop. And people saw how hateful the Democrats were because they were in charge. They saw how little was getting done. Biden got in, and they saw how everything the Democrats did, they actually hated, and it was making things worse. Democrats in power before 2028 is not the flex they think it is. It's actually worse for the Democrats if they win the midterms. It's better for them in the sense that stuff won't get codified as much. But look what the Republican Congress is doing already. They're not getting crap done at all. So if the 2026, if we lose the midterms, it's kind of like in 2020, okay? It being pushed out, Trump being pushed out, and the Republicans being pushed out. It sucked for 4 years, but it brought something better down the road. Something much better than if Trump had won 2020 in the first place. Can you imagine us still having Mike Pence as VP? I mean, we wouldn't have a future for MAGA. It wouldn't be the same thing. So, I mean, he came out and was against the SAVE Act today. Mike Pence is one of the worst people alive. A total Judas. But the point is winning the midterms for the Democrats makes 2028 worse for them. And because if we win the midterms, if the Republicans stay in, that makes the next 2 years a little easier for Trump. He can get a little bit more done. That's all great. Coming to 2028, now you've had 4 years where Democrats have had no power. So anybody who's upset at all, which Americans always get upset over time, anybody who's upset at all is now looking to the Democrats for change because now they are the party of complete change. And I'm not saying Vance won't still whoop their butts. I think he will, especially with elections locked in, especially with the new census stuff coming out, the Supreme Court knocking down probably the Voting Rights Act, all that stuff is big for 2028. I still think we win pretty handily because the presidential election is just a whole different animal. But having said that, their best bet to challenge 2028 is that they don't have the House and Senate, because that gives us time to hate. It gives America time to hate the Democrats all over again. Okay, let's keep moving. A couple things. I was going to share this earlier. I'm just not going to. I just don't have the time. I'm already running over, and it's almost an hour, and it's super late. So, buddy, you might have to wait till the next show. Sorry. Good stuff, though. I wanted to share this video of this kid who is an independent voter, didn't vote for Trump, and he's talking about how much Trump's done and how Trump's won him over. And so he's a smart kid. He's paying attention. And it just shows you that not everything's doom and gloom. Not everybody's upset with Trump. That's not a MAGA person like us. There actually are people waking up. So that's what I want to show you. But this is very interesting. Look at this crazy chart. Trump's approval by news platform. If you're on X, you get your news from X, +9. What does that tell you right there? It says the most informed people, the people who get the news, who actually see all the news, that's not curated by media personalities or left-wing algorithms, they all love what Trump's doing. This is literally the smartest, most educated, informed people in America on X getting the balanced news, because there's left-wing news on it too. Trump +9. Isn't that incredible? And look, not one other area. That tells you how bad the news is in America. So you might have a MAGA buddy who loves Trump, doesn't pay a lot of attention to politics. He loves his Facebook, though. He gets on there, posts pictures of his kids going out, all the fun stuff they do, four-wheeling. But because of the news on Facebook, they are 16 points more likely to go on the negative side. 16-point swing, and that's the most fair one is Facebook. How crazy is that? That's insane. Cable TV, -10, no surprise there. Podcasts and YouTube, -14. Why is that? Ask yourself why, because there's a lot of great conservative podcasts. Because most of the entertainment podcasts, which is what most people listen to, are lefties. And so that'll pull you down a little bit. Local TV, this is kind of crazy to me that local TV watchers are more lefty than cable, but whatever. Instagram, super lefty. Broadcast, so this is if they only watch like ABC, CBS. TikTok, newspaper and news sites, 33%. And of course, Reddit is where all the libtards live. So look at this, man. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Again, there's only one place where you can get your news, the good news, and it's X. That's it. So wild stuff. And anyways, this is important. This is an important graph. It really shows you that it's really difficult. It's really difficult to get the breakdown anywhere out there. Okay. We got to talk about this real quick because there's a bombshell going off in conservative media right now. I have showed you guys a lot of stuff before with influencers and how most can't be trusted and most are actually not very good people. Well, a major one happened this last weekend where you guys might not even know them because they're on the younger side, but they're big. Trust me. Elijah Schaefer has millions of followers across platforms. But there was this Sarah Stock chick who had a couple 100,000, and she was a big promoter of being a trad wife and being a virgin before getting married. Well, she was having an affair with this Elijah guy. And Milo is posting the receipts because he was trying to here's all the text, trying to get this guy to get off alcoholism, partying and just sleeping. This guy's out there as a conservative influencer trying to get people to, be Christian and Lots of stuff you got, almost all of us would agree with. But again, like so many other conservative influencers who are big money backed, he turns on Trump on a dime as much as possible, because a lot of these people are funded by the old school Republican Party. And so they have marching orders. Well, they're also just not who they say they are. They are basically like Hollywood actors in their private lives. So this guy goes through this. I'm not going to go through all this because it is getting late and we don't need all the gory details. But then he comes out in response and this guy's been cheating on his wife. He's got kids and just no shame, just been exposed for sleeping with multiple people, ruined this other girl's career, the Sarah Stock chick who was having the affair because she lied and her husband didn't know. But I wanted to show you this, as this is interesting. So he comes out, makes this retarded post about like, oh, I'm all tough now. I'm going to be back better than ever, after just getting blown up by Milo. And who does he thank? Myron Gaines. Myron Gaines is bad news. Nick Fuentes. Oh, that's a big surprise. Nick Fuentes been on his side, helping him get back into it. Alex Jones. Say it ain't so, Alex. Say it ain't so that you're supporting this loser. Gavin McGinnis, Lisa Elizabeth, a couple other smaller ones. But that kind of is like, I don't know. I just say, like, these are people maybe we should be paying more attention to if they're supporting this douchebag. You can hear, like, so his wife's now divorcing him, seeking full custody of his children, and this is his response. Thank you, Nero. That's Milo. Blah, blah, blah. Don't want to read it. I have a dick and it works. Everyone could go cry about it. How disgusting is this guy? And so this guy's falling apart. And then we got Candace Owens. And this just goes with the whole theme of the influencers, man. They're crashing out. Bleeding 50,000 followers a month. And as the quartering says, it's either bots or people are sick of being lied to. Here is Candace's follower counts the last few days. Minus 7,000, minus 1,000, minus 3,000, just falling apart. Last 30 days, lost 50,000. I do want to, toot my own horn again for being one of the first to call her out. She's a quack. Her stuff's nonsense. Her attacks on Erica Kirk, almost completely unfounded, and the ones that have something to them are completely taken out of context. And I'm not even defending Erica Kirk. I just can't trust anything that comes out of Candace Owens' mouth anymore. But I'm so glad people are waking up to it. She's a kook, completely, So anyway, you got, like, why am I sharing all this stuff? Because, as always, I'm trying to teach you guys and trying to just share with you, be careful who we listen to. And a lot of these people, they are the ecosphere of conservative media, and they've been trying to take over MAGA. They are, and they've come close a couple times. Candace came real close, most popular in the world. Many people were drifting to her, but then she lied so much. She got caught in so many lies that it all unwound on her, and now it's falling apart for her. And good it should. This Elijah Schaffer kid, there's been Lauren Southern, there's been so many that have been busted. And, Milo, I have a lot of disagreements with Milo on some areas. But the one thing he does, and he's got like nonstop receipts on and almost a perfect track record, is exposing this stuff. And I am so glad for it. And that's why I like Milo, because he does. He speaks his mind, even when I disagree with him. But man, he calls out this crap. Now, the one area he faltered in was he was supporting Candace for a while. And I was like, Milo, what are you doing? But whatever. Milo probably has his reasons. I think he used to be friends with her and he just didn't want to turn on her. But I don't know. Again, don't trust everything. And I'll say, I've been really hard on Steve Bannon lately, especially with the Epstein stuff. I've kind of come around and I think ultimately Bannon loves America. I think he ultimately is a patriot, but I also think that he might play a little too loose, get a little too close to the sun sometimes. and it also makes him make some bad decisions. So, again, if I could trust Bannon, I can trust him 80% of the time, maybe 90% of the time, but that 10%. And so again, it goes down to like, you can't trust these people. You got to trust the people actually doing the work for us. And for me, that's Trump, that's JD Vance, that's Rubio, that's RFK Jr. I mean, these are the people I trust because I voted for them, and I see them doing the work. I see them trying, even when it's difficult, and even when it's going slow. I still see them putting the work in, and so I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to trust keyboard warriors over them. Rich Barris is a wonderful pollster. I'm not going to trust his analysis when he's going super negative. I'm just not. That's how it's going to be. I'm going to trust the guy I put in there, and I recommend like you guys figure that out for yourself, who you can trust, but at the same time, like, be very careful. Like me, if you guys ever catch me in a hypocrisy, or if you ever catch me sliding into something, you're like, this doesn't sound like the ace I know, please call me out on it. Please feel free to unsubscribe and leave the channel. I don't ever want to be that, but I can tell I'm honest because I don't have many views. Nobody wants to hear the guy saying the real stuff. They want the high production team and spouting out the crap. No, I'm kidding. Some people really earn their views. They do. And some have to grind, and it's fine. It is what it is. I'm very blessed that people watch me. But yeah, so Toe Cramp writes it right here. He said, mainstream media lost their effectiveness, so they deployed influencers. Absolutely. You don't think these people just jump into every media sphere they can? You don't think they just infiltrate our side when they can? They absolutely do. I can tell you one person I trust. I trust Jeremy here at the Quartering. And he's smaller. He's got a good following, but he's not the biggest in the world. He's not super huge. He's not moving headlines. Tim Pool. I trust Tim Pool. I think Tim Pool is honest. I don't always agree with Tim, but I think he comes by it honestly. I really do. Tim Pool is self-made. He's got no money behind him. He started off with going on the streets with a telephone in Occupy Wall Street. That's how he made his name. So, I trust people like that. Candace Owens came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden was star of stars. Elijah Schaffer came out of nowhere, all of a sudden star of stars. I don't trust those people. I just don't. You got to be careful with all this. And I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. It's just like if you're in the church right now, in the church world like me, there's a lot of exposure going on. And this has been happening for years now. Several pastors getting busted for disgusting, crazy stuff they've done. Good. It hurts. It sucks to be a Christian and see leaders that maybe you once respected or you learned something from go down, but it's good. Well, it's the same with the conservative influencers. It's starting to happen. They're being purged. And here's Liz Crokin, who's been one of the best about the pedophilia stuff and the trafficking stuff. Responded to this today. Jack Maxey, this guy writes, I'm starting to wonder if so-called influencers of MAGA are pedos too. And Liz responds, I will answer this question. Yes, some of them are. With that said, these people are not and never were MAGA in the first place. They were tapped and paid to infiltrate this movement. This too will come out. So get ready, guys. You better believe I'm going to cover this one. That's going to be kind of fun to cover. All right, a couple last things before we finish up here. Toe Cramp writes, just like Hollywood, stars come out of nowhere, made, then become the greatest thing since Round Wheel created. 100%, man. It happens everywhere. Which, listen, how long have I been doing this show now? 3 years and 1 month? 3 years and 1 month, guys. I'm at 7,000 subscribers around there. Each of my videos, somewhere between 1,000, 5,000 views on average. My live shows, my other videos usually go lower. Hey, you can tell I'm not being propped up by anybody. If anybody's out there and wants to prop up my show, I will accept. No, I'm kidding. I will never sell out. I will never sell out unless the check's really big. No, I'm kidding. I won't I won't sell out. But if somebody wants to pay me to do this show full time and not give me, not edit me, that might happen. We'll see. I'm just, listen, I love doing this show. I would love to do this full time. Fortunately, Ace has got to work. Ace has got to put in the time. All right, Trump. Today they announced Trump RX. This is a huge win. This is going to change so many lives. I mean, so many subscriptions now you can get way cheaper than before. It's an actual website. So this is the kind of stuff we need to reach voters. And so this just needs to get out there, and try it, let it spread. Hopefully it spreads a lot before the midterms. A lot of people are going to love this. So this is a huge win. And last thing I wanted to do though, before we leave, because I am going to wrap up the show here in a minute, but let me see if I missed any good comments before we go on here. Schaefer seems like he has a fake name, 100% gay, son of a Europe globalist. Is he a son of a European globalist? I didn't know that. There is a lot of the stuff going on that he's gay. Yeah, so that's interesting. Rum Dog, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Jake asks, what's the main problems with Thomas Massie? Oh, Jake, where you been, brother? You haven't been watching my Massie stuff? I don't have time tonight. But I hear you and I see you. Let me just put it this way, okay? Massie's talks a good game, and that's why what you write at the end there, you like some of what he said. Massie talks a good game. He does. He's very smart. And every time he sits down for an interview, I got to admit, I listen and I'm like, man, I kind of like this guy. But, it's not what you say, it's what you do. And Massie, in the Trump terms, has been one of the biggest thorns in Trump's side. And he comes out and says it's because he's so principled. But this guy, his record lies about that. Okay, his record belies him. Under the Biden administration, he was on, it's okay, Jake, I'm not being hard on you. He was on a committee, the budget committee. They were trying to pass Biden's big budget with no debt ceiling for a year and a half. Well, what is like libertarians' number one thing? It's always the debt, baby. Stop spending. Thomas Massie, principled man, is the deciding vote to get it out of committee to get voted on the House, and he votes for it to get voted on when he could have stopped it. And now for a year and a half, there's no debt ceiling, and Biden racks up debt at unprecedented levels. So there's number one. Okay, that's to me like one of the most egregious examples. Number two, the Epstein thing. With Epstein, Massie never brought it up at all. He's got one tweet where he mentions it from 2001 to 2004 when Trump's out of office. In 2004, Trump comes back in office, and all of a sudden, Massie starts, or not even back in office yet, he's on his campaign. Massie starts talking about the Epstein files. Like, oh, we got to get justice for these victims. Where the hell were you during the Biden years, dude? They had those files. You didn't say one thing. Interesting that it's supposedly going to hurt Trump. Who's he team up with? Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna is one of the worst Democrats. He's in the House. He talks a good game. He's lying to everybody's faces. He's like Obama. He's very smooth, but he's left as it gets. And luckily, he's not as smart as Obama. He's already outed himself enough where I don't think he'll ever have a chance to become president. But that's who Massie teams up with to get exposure on the Epstein files. And then he deploys all of this right when Trump kind of needs it the most. Right after the bombing of Iran, everybody's saying Trump's owned by Israel, which is one of the dumbest things ever because it was a quick bombing in and out. Israel wanted to stay in. Trump demanded they end the war. And then Trump also forced them to end bombing Gaza when Netanyahu probably would have done it forever. Trump is obviously not owned by Israel. All the evidence points to it. But retards like Massie are all playing that game. And it's mostly the libertarians, unfortunately. libertarians and the America First Groyper crowd led by Nick Fuentes. Who, by the way, why team up with them? So Massey, right after this, when Trump kind of needs like a little bit of help, not help, help's the wrong word, but he's in a vulnerable position because of all this Israel stuff, because of the Iran strike. That's exactly when Massey decides to go full bore, release the Epstein files. What are you hiding? Why are you protecting your friends? And then gets everybody up in an uproar. Now, I feel like Trump played it as well as he could. It wasn't perfect. It was a mess, but he did suck them all in and then rug pulled them in December. Now the Democrats are freaking out. So it ultimately is going to work out. But at the same, Massey just votes and stands up to Trump all the time. And he brings this whole cohort of people who are kind of stupid because all they care about is like, oh, we're so principled. But principled in this term, like, I'm a principled person. I realize I have goals. I have goals that I want America to achieve. I have goals I want Trump to achieve. I want to see a change in our country. You know what I'm happy with? Progress. It doesn't mean I'm satisfied, but as long as there's progress, I am okay with fighting, and I'm cheering on the people making progress. The Massey crowd, the Dave Smith libertarian crowd, the America First Groyper crowd, the Nick Fuentes types, all in this bubble together cheering on Massey. None of them are okay with anything unless it's perfection and you do it all at once. There's no celebration of progress. All there is criticism all the time. And when you don't get it done in time for them, which I don't even know what their time is, it's like Trump hasn't even been in there a year and they're already saying he's betrayed them and he's not America first. It's like he's got 3 years left and we've already got all this done. But the Massey types, what he's leading, it's all like ginning these people up and encouraging them. And it's hurting Trump a little bit. It is. It's hurting the approval and it's hurting the movement. Now, I think the movement's big and strong enough and Trump's smart enough where we're still going to win. But if we had people like Massey who have such a big following on our side and not lying to the people and not always challenging Trump from this perspective, this right perspective, we'd all get where we want to go faster, including Massey. Because, by the way, Trump is, it's like, I know it's not saying a lot to a libertarian, but as far as you guys have gone with your presidential candidates, Trump is the most libertarian president you'll ever have. He just is. Look what he's done with crypto, which you guys all wanted. He let go. He got Ross out of prison. He's deregulating the economy. He's cut taxes. You know, he's always going to spend more than you guys want. And he's always like the tariffs. I know libertarians hate, whatever. It's stupid because libertarians, not you, but big libertarians, they have this belief that the whole world plays by the same rules, which just isn't true. We can have free trade within our borders, which is just regular commerce capitalism. It's not going to work across the board because they were all tariffing us. So we were the only ones doing free trade, okay? So Massey it's like, and then we see who he's funded by. He accepts money from the Bill Gates kids. So there's the Gates. He says, oh, I don't get any money from AIPAC, which is true. He does have major Israeli donors, though. Oh, nobody talks about that. Nobody's willing to do the research on that. So Massey, so let me sum all this up. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I had to because this is how much I hate Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey, the worst part about Thomas Massey is he's a complete and utter fraud. And not only is he a fraud, he has so many people following him and lionizing him as if he's the true hero of the Republic. And it's pathetic because all it takes is getting onto Grok and doing 2 minutes of research and you can find how he's not that principled. But he talks a good game. He's very smart. He's like an MIT engineer. And he's a brilliant man. But he's also a POS. And it just needs to get out there more and more. And thankfully, I think enough people have woken up that I think he's going to lose his primary. But so Jake says, thanks, pay more attention. Yeah, man. Hey, God bless you. Thank you for being open to that as a libertarian. And again, I'm hard on libertarians, but not guys like you. So there's my Massey rant. I hope that helped. All right, let's laugh for a minute. Because Scott Bessent went back and forth with Elizabeth Warren today. And it just made me so happy. And if you were watching the members live last night, which by the way, if you're not a member and you want to support the channel, you can get members lives, members only podcasts, and access to the 24/7 Discord where we talk stocks, politics, sports, whatever. 24/7, a few hundred people in there. It's awesome. You can go to the description, click on the Patreon link. You'll get a free month. Or if you're on X watching, you can go to my pinned post, click that Patreon link, get in the membership. Come on in. It's a great time. Get your first month free, and it's only $5 a month after that if you want to stay. Okay. Last night we played some Bessent clips. He had another run today. So I just wanted to play a couple. Scott Bessent's just become one of my favorites, man. He is so great. He's genius, and he's the master of taking care of these condescending a-holes. So here's him talking to Elizabeth Warren.
Senator, it may be a bit nuanced for you, but what President Trump is referring to is the media saying that the affordability crisis was generated by this administration when it was you and President Biden who destroyed the buying power of the American people. So there is an affordability crisis, and you were front and center in it.
So let me make sure that I understand. Donald Trump is not saying that affordability, what's happening to families right now, is a hoax?
He is saying that trying to lay the blame at this administration rather than the Biden-Warren economy is a hoax.
Okay, so...
The Biden-Warren economy, man. I love this guy. And you notice how he does this all with a smile? Like, look at him just smirking. He's like, these morons. He doesn't get offended. He never gets rattled. He just handles it like a G. He's the best. He had one more quick one with her here, too. This is just great.
The president also made a big joke about you that I won't repeat, Senator Warren.
That was the
actually, I will.
one.
He said he had reservations.
If this was a joke, why not just say so?
It was a joke, and he made a joke about you, too, Senator Warren.
Yes,
he got a lot of laughs. A lot of laughs.
Yeah.
So the president...
He said the joke. I can't repeat it here, but it got a lot of laughs. I love it so much, man. She is such a joke. Yesterday, it was Maxine Waters and some other morons, and he just ate them for breakfast. So it's just great. And then this is the kind of stuff, again, we got to enjoy the ride, right? We're on a long journey. We're trying to win this fight. Progress is happening, but ultimately, we might never get to your full destination in this life. We all hope we do. Many of us don't get the full destination. So you know what? You got to enjoy the ride while we're going. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the progress. And this is the kind of stuff I just love seeing. So anyways, guys, listen, going to call it a night. It is late, but I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope it was worth it staying up late with me tonight. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching the show. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Support the show if you want through the membership. I would love to have you in the Discord and get to know you a little bit more with everybody else. It's a lot of fun in there. It's a great community. So extending that invite there. Let's end in a prayer as we always do, because God knows we need it and our nation needs it. Our leaders need it. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Father, I just pray a blessing over everybody watching. I thank you so much, God, that you've given me an audience, and even better than that, though, a community. Thank you for these people, Lord, and bless them. I pray for a blessing over President Trump and his team, God, that you would protect them, give them wisdom and boldness to keep going and getting done the job you gave them to do, because I don't know how he gets there without your hand being on him against all odds. So we thank you for that, the miracle of getting our country back and just making sure it's seen through so this mission is not a failure. Father, we pray for justice in our land, peace and prosperity like never before. And again, I just pray a blessing over the people here. Lord, meet them in their need. meet them in their wants, and God, just be there with them and let them know you're there with them as well. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, love you guys. Have a blessed night, and I will probably be on this weekend. I know tomorrow's Friday, but I missed Tuesday. No, I missed Monday, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. They are talking about maybe hitting up Iran, so you better believe I'll be on if that happens. So we'll see. All right, God bless you guys.